Pain isn't just an unpleasant experience. It's a necessary force, a raw and honest part of life that forces growth where comfort cannot. Pain is the catalyst. It activates something inside you that complacency would let sleep forever. When you hurt, you're being given a rare and powerful opportunity. You're being called to rise, to evolve, to confront everything weak and unsure within you and either destroy it or turn it into strength. People often run from pain, numb it, hide it, avoid it at all costs. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is your guide. It's the truth that the easy path can never show you. It doesn't come dressed in beauty. It shows up like a storm, unpredictable, violent, and often unwelcome. But inside that storm is clarity. Inside pain is the realization of what really matters. When everything is stripped away and you're left with just you and your heartbeat, that's when you discover what you're made of. That's when the noise dies down and your soul starts speaking. Pain tells you you are still alive. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. And as long as you can feel, you can move forward. That's the paradox. Pain feels like it stops everything, but in truth, it starts something deeper. The problem is we've been taught to avoid it. Society teaches us that struggle is failure, that if it hurts, it must be wrong, but that's a lie. The people who achieve greatness in sports, in business, in life, they didn't get there because it was easy. They got there because they endured the hard parts. They walked through the fire. They let the pain refine them. They knew that every ache, every disappointment, every setback was shaping something inside of them that comfort never could. Think of a diamond. It doesn't come into existence without pressure. Steel isn't forged in still water, it's shaped by fire. The same goes for you. Every time life hits you, you're being formed. Every time you fail and get back up, you're being sharpened. Pain isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. It's not there to punish you, it's there to push you. There's a part of you that's only born in struggle, a level of depth and character that cannot come from ease. When you lean into pain instead of running from it, you gain control. You take the wheel. It's no longer something that happens to you, it's something that happens for you. That mindset shift changes everything. You begin to see pain not as suffering, but as the classroom of life. Every heartbreak teaches resilience. Every failure teaches humility. Every rejection teaches self-worth, and through all of it, pain teaches you to become more than you were yesterday. And make no mistake, pain will visit everyone. It doesn't care about your background, your status, or how good your intentions are. It comes for us all. The difference is in how we respond. Some let it paralyze them. Others let it ignite them. Some collapse under its weight. Others build strength beneath it. You decide what your pain becomes. You decide whether it's the reason you stop or the reason you start becoming everything you were born to be. This isn't about glorifying suffering. It's about understanding it. It's about not wasting it. If you're going to hurt, then let it serve you. Let it wake something in you that nothing else could. Let it sharpen your focus, raise your standards, deepen your hunger. Let it strip away all the illusions and leave you with something real, with raw determination, fierce discipline, and the quiet but unshakable belief that you are more than your circumstances. The truth is, pain will change you. But how it changes you, that part is up to you. You can come out bitter, broken, and full of regret, or you can come out wiser, stronger, and ready for war. The choice is yours, every single time it hurts. When everything starts to fall apart, when life feels like it's spinning out of control and you can't seem to catch your breath, that's the moment your true character is revealed. It's easy to act strong when things are going well, when you're winning, when people are cheering you on. But what about when you're alone? What about when you fail? What about when you've given everything and it still wasn't enough? That's when the real test begins. It's not in the spotlight that strength is formed. It's in the shadows. It's in the silence. It's in the lonely nights when you question everything and still choose to keep moving. Adversity exposes who you are at your core. Not who you pretend to be, not the version of you that people see online, but the real you, the raw, unfiltered version. Will you crumble when life hits hard, or will you get back up swinging? Will you let the pressure define you, or will you define yourself through how you respond to it? In struggle, there's nowhere to hide. Your fear comes out. Your doubt gets loud. But you also find something else, your fight. You discover just how far you're willing to go for what you believe in, how much you're willing to suffer for the dream in your heart. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It reveals the strength you've been building in silence. Think about the people who inspire you. They didn't become powerful in the good times. Their strength came from pain. Their power came from the nights they didn't quit. That's how character is formed. You build it in the darkness so it shows up in the light. The world doesn't need more people who give up when it gets tough. The world needs warriors who rise when they're bleeding, who push forward when every voice says stop. Every scar you carry, every crack in your armor, it tells a story. It speaks to the storms you survived, the demons you faced, the tears you wiped on your own shoulder when no one was there. Those scars are proof that you're still here, that you didn't let the pain win, that you're a survivor. They are not weaknesses. They are battle marks. They are signs of life, signs that even when the world tried to break you, it failed. They remind you of what you've endured and everything you overcame to still be standing. People spend too much time hiding their wounds, pretending to be perfect, but what they don't realize is that it's their pain, their fight, their resilience. That's what makes them powerful. That's what people need to see, not the image of perfection, but the reality of persistence. Because someone else is going through what you went through, and your scars can be their light. Your story can be their reason to keep going, but only if you're real about the war it took to become who you are now. Scars aren't signs that you were defeated. They're signs that you fought back. They're proof that even though you were knocked down, you didn't stay there. Every cut, every bruise, every invisible wound, they shape you. They turn your pain into wisdom, your suffering into compassion, your defeat into fire. You don't walk away from hard times unchanged. You walk away different, stronger, bolder, more aware of who you are and what you're capable of. The strongest people aren't the ones who've never fallen. They're the ones who got back up 1,000 times. They're the ones who turned their pain into purpose. They didn't let their past trap them. They used it to fuel their future. They carry their scars with pride because they know what it took to earn them. They know that behind every success, there was struggle. Behind every win, there was a loss that almost made them quit. So the next time life hurts, remember, the storm isn't here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you. The fire is not here to burn you down. It's here to forge something indestructible within you. You're not broken, you're becoming. And every scar you carry is the proof. Quitting is easy. It's always available, always calling when the pressure rises and the pain kicks in. The voice that says, this is too much, it's not worth it, just walk away. But that voice lies. It wants comfort, not growth. It wants peace, not power. And when life gets hard, really hard, that's when quitting becomes the most seductive. But you don't grow by listening to comfort. You grow by pushing through the discomfort, by showing up when quitting feels like the only logical choice. When you choose not to quit, you're choosing to fight for the version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of pain. You're saying, this hurts, but I'm still here. I'm still in it. And that decision to keep going despite the pain, despite the fear, despite the failure, is what separates those who win from those who wish. Most people stop at the first sign of struggle. They let a bad day turn into a bad season. But the ones who make it, they understand something deeper. They know that struggle is part of the process, that pain is part of the price, that discipline doesn't show up when things are easy. It shows up when everything is trying to pull you backwards. Choosing not to quit doesn't mean you're not tired. It doesn't mean you don't have doubts. It means you're willing to carry your fatigue and your fear with you and still take the next step. You keep walking even if you have to crawl. You keep believing even when the evidence says otherwise. You fight for every inch because that's where the power is. Not in giant leaps, but in small, defiant steps forward. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. If you want to become something more, if you want to do something great, then you have to leave the safe behind. You have to willingly step into discomfort. That's where you build muscle, physically, mentally, emotionally. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it robs you of the growth you're capable of. Discomfort is where life gets real. It's where your limits are tested and your strength is revealed. There's no shortcut around it. Every transformation demands a toll, and that toll is discomfort. You've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That means waking up early when you'd rather sleep. That means doing the work when no one's watching. That means showing up with consistency even when motivation is gone. It's not about hype. It's about hunger, the kind of hunger that drives you to stay focused when everyone else is distracted, the kind of hunger that makes you choose discipline over convenience. And the truth is, most people won't do it. They'll say they want change, but the moment it hurts, they stop. That's your advantage. That's your edge. You're not most people. You don't shrink from discomfort. You rise inside of it. You learn from it. You transform because of it. And that transformation, it doesn't come cheap. It demands sacrifice. You'll lose some sleep. You'll lose some people. You'll lose some ease, but you'll gain something far greater, a version of yourself that's built, not born, a version of yourself that's earned through blood, sweat, and persistence. Pain can be your prison, or it can be your power. It all depends on what you do with it. If you let it, pain will push you further than motivation ever could. Motivation is fleeting, but pain is raw. Pain is honest. It doesn't lie. It demands action. It demands change. And when you embrace it, when you stop running from it, you find out just how powerful you really are. There is a moment in every journey where you'll be tempted to stop, not because you can't go further, but because going further requires more of you than you've ever given. That's the threshold. That's the place where average turns around and the relentless breakthrough. If you want to live a life that most people never will, you have to be willing to endure what most people never could. And that starts with choosing every day, every moment, not to quit, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because on the other side of that pain is a person you've never met, a stronger, smarter, sharper version of you that only discomfort can awaken. Turning pain into power is one of the most profound transformations a human being can experience. It's not something that happens by accident or chance. It's a deliberate choice. Pain will come, whether you ask for it or not. But what you do with it, how you use it, determines everything. Pain can either break you down or build you up. It can drain your energy or fuel your fire. The difference lies in how you respond. There is no power without pain, because pain strips away all illusions and forces you to confront what truly lives inside you. Pain brings clarity. It teaches you what matters. It burns through the surface level distractions and forces you to go deeper. When you're hurt, truly hurt, you have two options: surrender to the suffering or rise with strength. When you choose the second, you begin to reshape the very fabric of who you are. You start to dig beneath the pain, finding lessons, drive, and purpose, where before there was only despair. You take that same fire that tried to consume you and use it to forge something stronger. That's how warriors are made. They don't escape the pain, they transform it. Some of the most successful, driven, unstoppable people in the world were born in the ashes of pain. They've been through betrayal, loss, failure, heartbreak, but instead of letting those moments define them, they let them refine them. They turned their pain into a relentless drive, into unmatched focus, into unshakable belief. Pain taught them discipline when comfort couldn't. Pain pushed them further than motivation ever could. Because when you've been at your lowest, when you've had nothing left and you still chose to fight, that kind of power can't be faked. It can't be taught. It must be earned. Turning pain into power requires a shift in mindset. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You stop running from it and start using it. Let the pain remind you that you're still alive, that you're still in the game, that you're not done yet, because as long as you can feel, you can move. And as long as you can move, you can rise. Pain can sharpen your mind, harden your resolve, and awaken a version of you that never would have surfaced in comfort. That transformation isn't easy. It means facing things you'd rather avoid. It means being honest about your failures, your flaws, your fears. But in that honesty, there's power, real lasting power. When you own your pain, no one can use it against you. When you stop being ashamed of your scars, you stop being controlled by them. They become your armor, your reminder, your proof that you've been through hell and kept going. Pain also unlocks empathy. When you've hurt deeply, you understand others who are hurting. You connect on a deeper level. You become more human, more compassionate. And from that place, you can lead, influence, and inspire like never before. Because people don't connect with perfection. They connect with truth. They connect with struggle. They connect with your scars, not because they want to see you suffer, but because it reminds them of their own strength. There is beauty in pain if you look for it. There is power in the struggle if you choose to own it. You don't have to pretend that everything's okay. You don't have to fake strength. True strength is born in the moments you feel weakest. When you're broken, but you keep breathing. When you're exhausted, but you keep moving. When you're hurting, but you keep showing up. That's the kind of strength that builds legacies. Every painful moment in your life is a brick. You can either let it bury you or you can use it to build a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it. Pain will test you, no doubt about it. But if you respond with purpose, if you rise with resolve, pain will also empower you. It will turn your wounds into wisdom and your struggle into strength. And that strength, once unlocked, becomes unstoppable. Purpose demands sacrifice. It doesn't come to you with ease, and it doesn't wait for convenience. When you carry a real purpose, something deep, something meaningful, something you feel in your bones, it changes everything. You no longer wake up just to survive or just to get through the day. You wake up with a fire, with direction, with urgency. But that kind of purpose comes with a price. It demands your time, your focus, your energy, your discipline. It demands that you give up distractions. It demands that you leave behind excuses. It demands a level of commitment that most people aren't willing to give. To chase your purpose means giving up comfort. It means turning your back on the temporary pleasures that most people indulge in daily. The world will offer you all kinds of noise to distract you: social media, entertainment, drama, gossip, opinions. But when you're living with purpose, you can't afford to indulge in those things. You learn to say no to what doesn't serve your mission. You start cutting off the things and sometimes the people who pull you away from your focus, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about what you're here to do. And in that space, you realize something powerful. You can't do great things and live an average life at the same time. Sacrifice comes in many forms. Sometimes it's missing out on sleep because you're working on something that matters. Sometimes it's isolating yourself for a season to develop the skills you need. Sometimes it's walking away from relationships that drain your spirit. Sometimes it's having to keep going when you're misunderstood, unsupported, and unrecognized. And yet, through all of that, you keep showing up, you keep building, because something inside you knows this is bigger than the pain, bigger than the struggle, bigger than the cost. When you're living in purpose, you begin to think differently. Your standards rise. Your circle shifts. Your language changes. You're no longer okay with being mediocre. You stop settling. You stop compromising on your values, and you start aligning your daily habits with your long-term vision. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about waking up every day and choosing to be faithful to the calling that burns in your heart. Even when no one sees, even when no one claps, even when nothing seems to be working, yet. And that's the test. Will you continue to chase your purpose even when the results are invisible? Will you keep showing up when the applause stops? Will you trust the process when the sacrifices seem to outweigh the rewards? Because that's where most people give up, not because they lack talent, not because they lack dreams, but because they're not willing to endure the cost. But the ones who make it, they're willing to lose sleep. They're willing to walk alone. They're willing to struggle now for the vision they believe in later. There is nothing passive about purpose. It doesn't just sit and wait for you to feel ready. It demands action, discipline, urgency. It challenges you to stretch, to grow, to rise. It demands that you build mental toughness, emotional stability, spiritual clarity. You can't hold on to the old version of yourself and step fully into your purpose. Something has to die. Your excuses, your procrastination, your self-doubt, that version of you that plays small, that hides behind fear, that blames the world, that version cannot come with you. Purpose doesn't guarantee an easy life. In fact, it often guarantees a harder one, because once you start walking in your purpose, the resistance increases, the pressure intensifies, the trials multiply, but so does your strength, so does your courage, so does your clarity. And that's the difference. People chasing purpose don't fold under pressure. They become more focused, more determined, more relentless, because they know this pain has a purpose. This season has a reason. This sacrifice is shaping them into the person they were always meant to be. The truth is, purpose will cost you something, maybe even everything. But what you gain in return is priceless. Fulfillment, legacy, meaning, impact. And once you taste that, you'll never want to go back. You were not built to crumble under pressure. You were not created to quit when life tests you. Deep within you is something stronger than pain, more resilient than fear, and more powerful than failure. You were designed to endure, to persist, and to overcome. That strength doesn't always reveal itself in the beginning. It's not loud or flashy. It's the quiet fire that refuses to go out, the stubborn heartbeat that says, not yet, when everything else screams, give up. You may not feel strong all the time, but strength isn't a feeling. It's a decision, a commitment, a refusal to back down even when the odds are stacked against you. Life is going to hit you. That's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. There will be moments when everything you planned falls apart. Times when you feel alone, confused, exhausted, and overwhelmed. But none of that means you're broken. It means you're alive. It means you're in the fight. And as long as you're in the fight, you have a chance. Strength is forged in these exact moments when the pressure is high, when the pain is deep, when the way forward is unclear, but you keep pushing anyway. Endurance isn't just physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's about holding your ground when life is trying to move you. It's about getting back up over and over, no matter how many times you fall. Every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback, but only if you refuse to stay down. The world might try to convince you that you've lost. Your mind might whisper that it's over, but strength doesn't listen to those lies. Strength listens to purpose, to truth, to that deep, unshakable voice inside that says, keep going. You may bend, but you will not break. You may stumble, but you will not stop. Pain may slow you, but it cannot silence you. There's a version of you that exists beyond the struggle, a version that's stronger, wiser, more focused. But you can't access that version by quitting. You reach it by enduring, by choosing to stand tall even when the ground beneath you shakes, by showing up on the days when everything feels heavy. That's how real strength is built. Not all at once, but moment by moment, decision by decision, one breath, one battle at a time. The people who seem unshakable weren't born that way. They were built that way, in silence, in difficulty, in doubt. They've cried in private, they've bled for their dreams, they've questioned themselves more times than they can count, but they kept moving. They didn't wait for the storm to pass. They became stronger within it. They turned every trial into training, every loss into a lesson, every no into new fuel. That's the mindset of endurance, to use what was meant to break you as the very thing that builds you. You are far more powerful than you think. You've already survived storms you thought would destroy you. You've already walked through fire and came out the other side. So don't forget that when the next trial comes, when things get dark again, when you feel that familiar ache. Remember who you are. Remember what you've already overcome. This isn't the end of your story. This is another chapter of your rise. And it's in these chapters where legends are written, where heroes are shaped, where warriors are born. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't always look like confidence or victory. Sometimes strength looks like barely holding on but not letting go. Sometimes it looks like taking one more step when you've got nothing left. Sometimes it looks like simply refusing to quit. That's the strength inside you. Quiet but undeniable, scarred but still standing, tired but unbroken. It's there, waiting to be called upon. And when you reach for it, when you decide that you won't be defined by this pain, it shows up like it always has, like it always will, because you were built for this. The world may try to silence you. It may try to shrink your voice, dim your light, and bury your vision under doubt, rejection, and resistance. You will face people who don't believe in you, who overlook you, who doubt your ability and question your dreams. You'll face circumstances that make it feel like everything is against you, like the doors won't open, the support won't come, and the results aren't showing up fast enough. But none of that determines your destiny. What determines it is what you do when you feel invisible. What matters is how you respond when no one claps, no one sees, and no one believes, not even you. When the world doubts you, let that doubt become your fuel. Let the silence become your strength. Let the rejection become your reason to rise. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need you to believe in you. That's where everything begins, not with applause or validation, but with that inner voice that refuses to die. The voice that says, I don't care who sees me. I will still show up. I don't care who doubts me. I will still build. I don't care how many times I fail. I will rise again. Your voice, your vision, your purpose, they were given to you, not to the crowd. That means the crowd doesn't have the power to validate or disqualify you. You don't need the approval of those who don't understand your calling. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need recognition to be relentless. Real power is built in silence. It's built in the dark. It's built when you grind without recognition, sacrifice without applause, and believe without proof. That's what makes your voice unshakable, because it wasn't born out of comfort. It was born in the fire. There will be moments where you're not just doubted by the world, but by the people closest to you, people you love, people you trust, people whose opinion once shaped your confidence. But that's part of the journey. Not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. And sometimes the people who care about you the most will still doubt your path. Not because they don't love you, but because they can't see your vision through their eyes. That's why your belief in yourself has to be louder than their fears. There's a strength that comes when you stop needing others to believe before you take action, when you stop waiting for support before you build, when you stop holding your dream hostage to the opinions of others. That's when your life changes. That's when you start to create real momentum. When you commit to your path, regardless of what the outside world is saying, you begin to develop a force within you that nothing can shake. Not doubt, not rejection, not delay, because your source of motivation is no longer external, it's internal, it's personal, it's yours. Your story isn't over just because the world hasn't noticed it yet. It's only beginning. Some of the most powerful people in the world were doubted, dismissed, and disrespected before they were ever celebrated. They didn't rise because everyone clapped for them. They rose because they clapped for themselves. They kept speaking, creating, working, and building, even when no one paid attention. Even when the doors were closed and the lights were off, even when they were laughed at, counted out, or ignored. And in time, the world had no choice but to listen. You have that same power, that same fire, that same voice. And yes, it may feel like no one hears you right now. It may feel like your progress is invisible, your pain unnoticed, your effort unappreciated, but that doesn't mean it's wasted. Everything you're doing now, every step, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, it's building something. It's building you. And one day, the same people who doubted you will be the ones inspired by you, not because you argued with them, not because you begged for recognition, but because you let your work speak, because you stayed focused, because you refused to let their doubt kill your destiny. So keep moving, keep believing, keep speaking, not for attention, not for validation, but because the vision is yours and no one else is going to carry it for you. You may feel like you're at your breaking point, like the weight you're carrying is too heavy, the pain too sharp, the pressure too intense. Life has a way of hitting harder than expected, not just once, but again and again, until you feel like you've got nothing left. And in those moments, it's tempting to believe it's over, that you've given all you can, that the fight is finished. But that's where most people get it wrong, because the breaking point isn't the end, it's the beginning. That moment when you think you can't take anymore is often the moment right before everything changes. It's in that space, that painful, uncertain, lonely space, where resilience is born. That's where strength stops being a concept and becomes a reality. You might be tired, you might be defeated, you might be questioning everything, but as long as you're breathing, you're not done. The world has a way of testing the strongest souls with the hardest battles. And those battles don't just come to test your limits. They come to expand them. You thought you were finished, but life is asking you to dig deeper, to tap into a reserve of strength you didn't even know existed. Everyone wants strength, but no one wants the struggle that builds it. Everyone wants courage, but not the fear that calls it forth. Growth only happens in pressure. Diamonds are formed under it. Steel is strengthened by fire. Mountains are climbed, step by brutal step. And you're no different. You are being refined, not broken, not ruined, refined. Everything you're going through is shaping something powerful inside you. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it is happening, whether you can see it yet or not. When you hit that wall, when your legs are shaking, your heart is heavy, your mind is filled with doubt, that's when it's time to fight harder, not back down. That's when it's time to scream back at the pain and say, you will not break me. Because in that moment, the world will be watching, not the world outside, but the world within. The part of you that's waiting to find out whether you're going to rise or retreat. And the decision you make in that moment will echo throughout your entire life. This isn't about pretending to be unbreakable. It's about choosing not to stay broken. It's about understanding that pain is a part of the process, not a sign to quit. You will fall, you will cry, you will want to give up. But if you keep going, even just one more step, even just one more breath, you're proving to yourself that the pain doesn't control you, that the storm doesn't own you, that the fire didn't consume you, it forged you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to keep moving. Keep standing, keep breathing. That's how strength is built. That's how the impossible becomes possible, through persistence, through grit, through the relentless refusal to be defeated. And with every step you take forward, no matter how slow, no matter how painful, you get stronger, you get wiser, you get better. That's how progress works, not in giant leaps, but in quiet, stubborn steps. Sometimes life's greatest victories don't come in loud, dramatic moments. They come in the silent decision to keep going when no one's watching, when no one believes in you, when you don't even believe in yourself. That quiet decision, repeated day after day, becomes a roar, a legacy, a life built on strength, not surrender, on grit, not ease. So even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, you rise. You rise for the dream that still lives inside you. You rise for the people who will one day be inspired by your story. You rise because deep down, something in you knows this is not the end. This is not your limit. This is your becoming. And nothing, no pain, no setback, no failure can stop someone who refuses to stay down.